Graduates, today I'm going to give my remarks to you specifically, but in some parts will obviously include your parents, supporters and carers who are here today. Most graduation ceremonies over the past couple of years have talked about AI and focused on AI. Today, I want to talk about something far more powerful. What is far more powerful than AI? I'm going to leave you guessing for a couple of minutes while I give my formal thanks. Thank you, Professor Shaw, Eleanor, not only for your beautiful oration, but for all the unseen work you do, which most people don't know about, to serve the NGO sector and to support us at Enable. These words mean so much to me because you are a woman that I admire, not just professionally, but personally. More to come on the human side of leadership later. Professor Hillier, David, thank you especially for conferring this honour upon me. Having you as co-founder of Breaking Barriers makes today's recognition so meaningful. And I will never forget the first time we met on an award stage where we were both being celebrated for our leadership, and in true David and Teresa style, decided that that wasn't enough. What we'd done and what we'd achieved wasn't enough, and there was more still to do. And from that moment, Breaking Barriers was born. So thank you on behalf of the 300 students whose life have been transformed by that programme. Thank you, David. I do, however, have a secret, and I debated whether to share it with you today or not. So as I often do in these situations, I talked it over with my team, and they absolutely agreed I should. So you can blame them if you don't like this. 3 decades ago, I sat where you're sitting in this historic, beautiful Barony Hall. It was my graduation. The weather was warmer and sunnier, but it was very similar to this situation today. My secret is this: I have no recollection of who gave my graduation speech. And even worse, I have no recollection of what they said. That is the secret. And when I tested it out with my team, from master's students, PhDs, people who just graduated, the theme was the same. No one really remembered who gave the speech. No one really remembered what they said. But here's what's important. If you had Taylor Swift at NYU a couple of years ago, you might remember that, particularly on today's date. But beyond that, when you have forgotten me and my speech, there are things that we all remember about our graduation. The poet Maya Angelou puts this beautifully, and it is indeed more than a poem, it's a lesson in leadership. She said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you do, but people will never forget how you make them feel." That is especially important today if I circle back to what is more important and powerful than AI. I would argue it is EI, it is emotional intelligence, and it is that emotional intelligence that will separate you out as the great leaders of the future. I hope your emotive memories of today stay with you for many years, as mine have, in terms of the feelings that I had. Feelings of optimism, feelings of hope, and feelings of courage about the next steps. But there are some personal feelings. The things I remember about how beautiful my mum looked, her hair blowing in the wind in the garden reception, the lunch I shared with my friends, my longest-standing friend who's here with me today, 3 decades later, again, a lesson in human, emotional intelligence and relationships. And I hope that you leave today with the same feelings I left with: optimism, hope, and courage. Now, you may not believe this, But there are so many parallels between today and my graduation 30 years ago. My children certainly don't believe that, but I'm going to tell you some. Back in the 90s, the world wasn't so different from today. Optimism, my hallmark I like to think, was in short supply. The country had experienced a 3-year recession, unemployment had hit 11%, and interest rates were at 15%. But that wasn't the worst of it. In the midst of such gloom, a massive technological change was on the horizon, this new thing called the internet. And where we were sitting, where you are today, we were told in the 90s it would change everything. It would eradicate millions of jobs, and the world would be doom and gloom. 30 years on, I can tell you that is certainly not the case. And I want you to look at AI with that same level of optimism that we looked at technological changes 30 years ago. It is strange to think, but true, my year at Strathclyde was the last year to handwrite our essays. Now, for anyone who has seen my handwriting, they will understand why perhaps I got a 2-2. It was really a first, but I don't think we understood the writing. However, today, AI is the next great technological shift, but we should not fear it. And for these graduates today in front of me, you more than anyone should not fear it. You have lived through a global pandemic. You have seen unprecedented technological change already in your studies. And you have seen extraordinary social change. These experiences have equipped you with one of the most important leadership qualities, resilience. The future won't belong to those who fear change. It will belong to those who are prepared to embrace it, and for Strathclyde graduates who are prepared to lead it. It has always been thus. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said these words, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which arm you today against the present." Or, as Taylor Swift said to the NYU students, "You've got this." So, the class of 2026, you have more than just weapons of reason, as Aurelius described. Here at Strathclyde Business School, one of the best in the world, you have honed your EI, your meta skills, and your leadership knowledge, which will arm you, as Aurelius described, for future success. You earned your degree here, demonstrating the meta skills that the futurist Bernard Marr described as those skills AI will never fully take over. I know I've been through some of the same classes that you have, albeit some time ago, but the things that you have learned around critical thinking, creativity, strategy, imagination and visioning, those leadership styles, those leadership qualities, the world needs them now more than ever, so please do not fear the future. Too often we talk about young people as though you are simply the leaders of tomorrow. I don't believe that. In my experience, particularly of social change on governments and public policy, you are already shaping and leading the world today. Some of the most successful businesses, breakthroughs in technology, and powerful social movements have been created by young people like you. So don't wait for permission to lead. Start now. Start today. Harnessing the positive power of AI with your EI and meta skills will serve you well and equip you for change that my generation, Generation X, could only have dreamed of. You will need every one of those skills. As David said, the world is complex. You inherit challenges that previous generations haven't solved. I did list them, but my team said they were too negative and I should take them out. So I think we all know what they are. There are many challenges the world feels, some big, wicked problems. But never before have talented young people had such access to information, to technology, and most importantly, the immediate ability to influence change. I suggest you seize this and you use this opportunity wisely. It will take collaboration, courage, and leaders who combine not just technological intelligence, but emotional intelligence. Leaders who create opportunities, not just for themselves, but for others. Leaders who bring people together. And most importantly, leaders who are driven by purpose. So I have some advice for you, and I know you haven't asked for it, but as everyone in the front row will attest to, I often give unsolicited advice, and I really like people to listen to it. So what would I say if I was in your shoes 3 decades ago, knowing what I know today? The first piece of advice is find your people. Find your future family, find your friends, and find your work colleagues, and choose every one of those wisely. Those will be the 3 biggest decisions you make in your life. I wisely chose my husband, Owen, almost 30 years ago. The daily reminder of that wise choice is my 3 children, Ava, Patrick, and Matthew. Machiavelli may have said it is much safer to be feared than loved, but in a rapidly changing world, you will need people who choose to work with you on a shared purpose, whether that is your personal purpose, your family purpose, or your professional purpose. You cannot be successful in one without the other, or at least trying your best. On the people front, Claude may be your best friend at university, although I believe you're not supposed to use it. I don't know what the technical rules are around that. But you will need people who love you and care for you and wish your success more than any Claude or AI ever will. I am fortunate to have 2 of those people here with me today, and I would like to take advantage of this situation and ask you to join me in a round of applause for Katie and Joanna for being my Claudes at Enable. So find your people, number 1. Secondly, more controversially, be true to your politics. We cannot afford for good people to be passive consumers of public policy or disengaged observers. Get involved, organise, and understand how your values translate politically. The merge between business and politics has never been more important, so be really clear about what your politics are and stay true to the values that they're founded on. Work to improve not just the organisations you will inevitably lead, work to improve your community and your country. Even if you're unsure of your purpose just now, don't worry. Very few people are at this stage. I certainly wasn't. But I wanted to leave you with something more than warm words. I wanted to leave you with an offer, a gift if you like. And the offer is this. As Eleanor alluded to, when I sat where you're sitting 30 years ago, I had no connections, I had no networks in the world that I found myself in. I've recently become obsessed with the French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu, and I realised that that is an actual academic thing. Who would have thought it? You read books and you learn things. Pierre Bourdieu talks about social capital. Over the past 30 years, I have grown a network of connections which most people would say makes me very wealthy in the field of social capital, if nothing else. Everyone on this stage, everyone in this hall, we have networks and connections that can work to help you. And so my offer and gift is not just on behalf of me, but on behalf of all of us. Go ahead and transform the world. Do not wait to be introduced to those connections and networks. You are a Strathclyder. Ask every one of us who belongs to Strathclyde how we can help you do it. In a world of technology, you can find me and everyone on the stage very easily. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day for your graduation.